Hello, everybody, and welcome along to the Racer Nexus Network as we are here to provide you with live coverage of the third week of Apex this GT4 series, and we are here at the world-renowned The Glen, also known as Watkins Glen International. You join myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and a very, very good afternoon to my good friend over stateside. Hello, and welcome back to the booth, Chris Murphy. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Excellent, Alex. How you doing today, man? My friend, we are excited to be here at Watkins Glen. Just looking for another. I mean, every time we get a chance to cover this Apex series, these guys just put on one heck of a show. So just happy to be here once again.
Yeah, we're set to have over 35 cars going around this 3.5 mile circuit, which was first opened back in 1956 as a permanent circuit and then has gone through the names. But of course, it is known as, for those that love their sports car championships, especially when it comes to WeatherTech IMSA, of course, it's the location of the 6 hours of Watkins Glen, which is run all the way from back when the circuit first opened back in 1956. It has gone over several variations, but it is the third stop on our 12-week calendar. So let's give you a rundown of the calendar up until March 3rd. So after this, we head to the Ardennes Forest. So we go to the home of the Crown Strike 24 Hours on January 13th, which will, January 6th, we'll be going to Mid-Ohio, which is in a matter of days' time. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself there, even though we're just in to 2026 here, Chris. We're heading to Mid-Ohio, and we head to Spa-Francorchamps on January the 13th, Sebring on January 20th. The streets of Long Beach await on the last week of January 2026. Then the first week of February, we head to Mosport, or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park now. No one, it sounds better with Mosport, doesn't it, Chris?
It does.
For that particular circuit, that's what everyone knows it as. And even though they've decided to elongate the name on it, we still affectionately call it Mosport. Anyway, that's February 3rd, VIR February 10th, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca February 17th, Mount Panorama, of course, the mountain, Bathurst, New South Wales in Australia will be the penultimate round on February 24th, and then we go to Road America for the series finale on March 3rd. Now, also with this, just a quick reminder of the format for those new to this. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Racer Nexus Network. And we hope you've all had a wonderful holiday season over Christmas 2025. And now, obviously, we've just gone to the turn of the new year. For this series, it is fixed setup, arrive and drive. No limits on car choice per week, so people can choose willy-nilly. They can choose very, very freely, but it always depends on how drivers feel confident going to respective circuits. They'll have a qualifying session where they'll have 3 laps, closed session. Then it is a 45-minute race with a pit stop due to limitation on fuel, which is just under the 50% mark, I understand from our good friend Kurt Kundiger, who is one of the grid that is allowed, who's on this as well. 1 fast repair per race. Damage is on, and we do have variable weather. We will have a full rolling start, but before that, we're going to go through our respective top 10s in the Apex, this GT4 series so far. So Brian Lemke, winner last time out at Monza. In the pro side of things, he leads by 3 points ahead of Brian's in. It was Michael Brock who last time out actually won. My apologies to Michael there. He took the win, but Brian has been second best for both races so far, but it's kept him in the lead of the championship standings. Roman Bykov rounds out your top 4 ahead of Russell Abraham, Kelly Greenhoe, Oz Esquilu, DJ Alessandrini, winner of the season opener at Road Atlanta back on December 16th last year, comes back after a week's absence and joins us 8th in the series ahead of Spencer Baudoin and Kent Kruger, rounding out your top 10. Then we go to what we affectionately like to call the mid-pack Larrys in that respect, and Carl Mavis is the leader of that at the moment, ahead of Sean Teeter by a whopping 14 points, so 40 for Mavis, 26 for Sean Teeter. Matthew Brent rounds out your top 3, a further 2 points behind in third. Ryan Ryder, Aaron Lahr, Uwe Hale, James Dean, Conor Menard, Daniel Salmon, and Craig Thompson round out your top 10. But as you can see, the iRacing Porsche pace car is there, and it's going to go off on its merry travels around this particular circuit, which has been in use since 1992. And here is your grid. DJ Alessandrini and Brian Lemke will start on the front row of the grid. Brian Zinn and Roman Bykov will be on row 2. Then we get to row 3. It's going to be Tyndall versus Tita, an all Mustang row 3. Then we head to row 4. Russell Abraham in the Sky Lounge BMW and Kyle Mavis in the Mustang alongside. Spencer Boudouin and Andrew McMurray round out your overall top 10. Representing Ford and Mercedes, Morgan Smith and John Cooper will be on row 6. Then we head to row 7. Joe Mayer and Thomas Lathrop, who makes his debut in the series, round out row 7. Dan Corrido and Jesse Meager round out row 8. Then we head to row 9. Kent Kruger and Michael Brock rounding out that row. And then we head to the end of the top 20. Zach Rubin and Ryan Ryder will complete that in the Porsche and the Mustang respectively. Rob Phelan and Oz Escalou round out row 11 on the grid. Escalou staying in the trusty Mercedes. Tony Phillips and Kurt Moss round out your top 12 rows of the grid. Dylan Foster and Matthew Brent complete row number 13 as the field now makes its way into the outer loop. Uwe Hale and James Dean round out row 14, and row 15 completing the top 30 will be the pair of Harrison Mealy and John Monsalve in the BMW and the Porsche. Kelly Greenhow and Mike Bond rounding out row number 16, both not setting a lap time in qualifying. Chris Diaz and David Sockrider rounding out row 17. Row 18, Kevin Fletcher and Channing McCabe. Then a couple of more rows to go. Jeff Oliveira and Thomas Fisher round out row, the penultimate row on the grid. And Sam Swan and Anthony Carbone Jr. round out your 40 strong. Looks like we've got 4 non-starters on this one. But it is going to be an interesting race here, Chris. So let's have a quick look at the weather, shall we? Thanks to our wonderful graphics that we have here at Race and Nexus. Of course, firstly, I have to say a big thank you to trackcams22.com and also our friends at Apex Sim Racing Shop. If you want to get a little bit of a cheeky 5% discount off all purchases on checkout, use the coupon code RaceandNexus for a 5% discount. Link is in the description. So 18 degrees air temperature, track 29 degrees, partially cloudy, 67% humidity, and it looks rather sunny there in the Glen, so we could be on for some very good racing here today.
Yeah, it's obvious they didn't use real world weather, or there'd be snow on the ground here at Watkins Glen right now, as there was in the last week or two.
True.
Exactly. So, we've been fortunate so far. No rain so far throughout this season. Interesting. I'm going to be really interested if we do get to a track with some weather to see how they're going to play out. But right now, coming to the line, DJ Alessandrini and Brian Lemke.
Okay, so get yourselves ready for the roller coaster ride here at the Glen, at Watkins Glen International, as we will very shortly go to green here for 45 minutes, and it's underway. Good start by Alessandrini, who went with the Porsche at the opening round at Road Atlanta, now switches to the Mustang here at Watkins Glen as everyone heads through the 90 for the first time. Oh, big moment there. That's Andrew McMurray, and he's hit the barriers, and he's also knocked the cone out of the way. And oh no, Michael Brock has just had a big old off, and he's hit the wall as they head up the hill for the S's for the first time. That's disaster for the winner at Monza last time out.
Michael Brock with a mistake right there. It looked like the car got a little bit loose on getting in the corner. Just kind of snapped around into the fence. Unfortunate mistake there for last week's winner. But look at DJ Alessandrini starting to put a little bit of gap on Lemke and Zinn already.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he did at Road Atlanta just a couple of weeks ago when we started things off here on Race and Nexus. So don't forget, if you are watching along, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, the next race for this series will be Mid-Ohio, January 6th, 2026. As we look our way up and down the field, there's an interesting new livery there for Derek Tyndall, who was in the trenches at Monza last time out, but he's catching Roman Bykov, who's got the Castrol. Oh, now, that's a wonderful livery. The good old Castrol livery we see. As Kyle Mavis looking up the inside of Russell Abraham, the second highest placed BMW at the minute, behind Brian Lemke, who rounds out your top two, who's losing ground to Alessandrini, who, as we saw in the opening race of the series, we're getting some great battles up and down the order as the field comes through the last few corners of the 13 total turns here. As all that's a bit of a wobble, and there's been two Beamers having a bit of a contretemps. Uwe Hale and Dylan Foster come to blows.
Unfortunate event. Man, we got to with the first lap here. We've already had a couple incidents, so field shaking out here at Watkins Glen. It just shows you just how technical this track can be, and it doesn't take much to make a mistake and put yourself in trouble.
Yeah, also, we've just had a notification that Spencer Baudouin has also ended up in pit lane, and is repairing a significant amount of damage. Uwe Hale trying to get out of things. John Monsal trying to go up the hill in the S's. He's got Andrew McMurray just ahead of him.
Three wide battle right here. Carrito, Smith, and Ruben. Actually, Carrito going to get away from these two. From Ruben and Lathrop right there behind him. So that was three wide coming down the straightaway.
That was a bit too close for comfort. Dylan Foster has been in. Tony Phillips in the 731 Porsche is also in pit road. So within the first 3 minutes, Chris, we've had madness at the Glen, let's say.
We have. It is already shaken out here. A few guys already with some trouble. Phillips, like you said, Hale also as well. So that looks like our friend Michael Brock, last week's winner, looks like he is going to be extensive time in the pit, still sitting there for 2.5 minutes right now. Spencer Baudouin as well.
Yeah, meantime, DJ Alessandrini is leading the way by a comfortable 2.3 seconds. He's sub 2 minutes as we've got a great battle around about 17th to 20th position. That's between Mike Bond, Oz Esquilou, Kurt Moss and Andrew McMurray. And Mike Bond has made up 15 places already. So good showing by him in the number 123 car. Roman Baikov still trying to close on in. Well, he's been passed by Derek Tyndall in the meantime. So Tyndall has got his way up into 4th position, and he's trying to chase down Brian Zinn, who's about 1.25 seconds up the road as they go through the 90 here at turn 1, down the hill in towards the famed S's. You see this big old uphill incline through the left and through the right, and then onto the back straight before we hit the famed inner loop, which is why we're using the international variation. I mean, normally if we weren't using that, we'd be just going straight into the outer loop, and it adds a little bit of technicality. It's all a bit of panel rubbing between Kurt Moss and Oz Esquilou. And then here comes Andrew McMurray. It's nearly 3 wide between the Mercs, heading into the inner loop, and McMurray looking to the outside of Moss, bails out of it, and Esquilou cuts the track.
Yeah, the little difficulty struggling to make the corners right there for Esquilou. 3 wide right there. And Esquilou off the racetrack. Also Moss off the racetrack as well right there. Just kind of missed the corner. It doesn't look like either one of them got a slowdown, so we're still going forward here. But look at Esquilou right here, right behind Moss. Moss trying to find a way around McMurray for that 18th position.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but we still will have that pit window that is going to definitely give people a little bit of thinking to parlay into this race. And more to the point, we are seeing some drivers. Ryan Ryder making up 7 spots so far from 20th on the grid, and now he is up to P13, closing in on Thomas Lathrop in the number 84 Porsche. Here's John Monsalve to the outside. That is on Kelly Greenhoe, and Monsalve makes a bit of a pig's ear on that particular occasion. Goes a little bit too wide through the corner, whereas David Sockrider going round the outside of James Dean in the 049 Porsche. And then we've got Kevin Fletcher, who's all the way down in 30th position. And looks like, well, Uwe Hale is not going to take any further participation in this race, I'm afraid. Out after the first lap. Tony Phillips out after the first lap. Spencer Baudouin has rejoined, but has taken a second pit stop, which means I think he's had another drama, which is a shame, because Spencer we've seen in previous weeks here, Chris, that he's actually really performed very well.
Yeah, he's had some really good runs over the first couple of weeks. Unfortunate event there for Spencer. Going to be looked out of the, or still sitting in the pits after a bit for his second stop here for another minute and a half. Michael Brock did make it back out on the racetrack. He after a 3-minute stop, but he's going to be at least a lap down. I like to look at this Castrol livery of Roman Bykov right here. It actually reminds me of the old Trans Am days here in the States. That is just a really good-looking Mustang out there on the racetrack, and he is trying to find his way back around Derek Tyndall.
Yeah, well, the thing is that is the same livery that we see on the Australia for the Repco supercars, because it did have Tickford Racing on the back quarter panels of that livery I just spotted. So that is the livery that is currently in use on a Ford Mustang in the Supercars Championship. So great to see the variety of colour as we've got Channing McCabe looking to the inside. That's more than likely going to be on Jeff Oliveira. Oh no, that is not what you want, as Oliveira, I think, might have had a little bit of a touching spree there with Channing McCabe, as Kevin Fletcher in the number 40 Porsche gets through and takes 28th away and has moved up 7 spots from 35th on the grid. Meantime, there's Rob Phelan coming out of the final corner at number 13. And it's also a difficult right-hander to negotiate here, Chris, because you're coming from the heel of the boot and then you're going uphill, downhill again, and then it's a downhill slant into the 90s. So no matter what you do, you've got to be very, very careful, and he's going to have to watch himself now, is Rob Phelan, because that's Kent Kruger going through on him, and that is at the S's. So Kent Kruger deciding to place the car in the right point, and Rob Phelan gets left in his dust a little bit.
Yeah, the penultimate corner right there at Watkins Glen is that downhill, and you carry a lot of speed through there, but you got to time it just right, and then you've got that hard right-hander to come to the finish line. It can be pretty tough. I know I've crashed into the wall quite a few times there myself, but watching these guys are pros. They're making it look easy getting around that last part of the racetrack here. And let's check on our leader here, DJ. We've not looked at him. He is almost 4 seconds out to the good here on Lemke right now.
Oh, and look at the lap times he's running at the moment. He's treating this like a qualifying session. 1:53, 9:61 by the 333. And looking at Brian Lemke's last lap, it was a 1:54.732. Tyndall, Bykov, Mavis, Smith, Corrido in the top 10. They have all put in their personal best laps. So the track is gripping up now, Chris. So we're seeing some evolution. So the times are getting quicker as the fuel is being reduced and those tyres are being scrubbed away by the asphalt here in the Glen.
Yeah, you get a little rubber down on the racetrack, gives you a little bit extra grip, and we're kind of seeing that right here. Times are improving as we're going along. We'll see what are we, about 10 minutes into this race? We're going to have to see how those lap times continue. I don't know if we're going to see anybody take tires here on this one pit stop. May only be fuel only, but with DJ being so far out in front, he may be the only driver to come in and take tires.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that sometimes you have to risk it. I mean, we saw at Road Atlanta where we had temperatures of 122 degrees Fahrenheit, or aka 50 degrees centigrade track temperature. He ended up accidentally taking tyres, but it came out trumps on that one because he ended up winning the race. Notice that Dylan Foster and Mike Bond are in pit lane now. They've been in there for Dylan Foster has just repaired 2 minutes and 40 plus worth of damage. Spencer Baudouin has been in there for nearly 5 minutes, so I think Spencer's race in the 010 Mustang might be done and dusted. But still, Brian Lemke at the minute is proving to be Mr. Consistency of the series because he's qualified strongly. He knows that Alessandrini's on a different level and canters away into the distance. But I think Brian Lemke's strategy here is pretty good because considering the fact that we have 4 drop scores out of the 12 weeks, Lemke could be a championship favourite heading into the midpoint of the series when we hit, let's say, Spa, Sebring, where if he's constantly in that second position and Alessandrini doesn't always show, Lemke could be there or thereabouts in the hunt for the title come series end.
Yeah, Lemke's been really consistent up towards the podium every single race so far this season. And he's doing it again right now. He's running that second spot. He's got a good gap here back to Zinn, but Alan Sandrini just kind of driving away from him. But it wouldn't take much. Lemke's, we've seen him be so consistent, but it wouldn't take much of a mistake here to have it look like about 3 or 4 cars right there behind him, all over the back of this number 41 Sky Lounge Motorsports BMW of Brian Lemke. As we come around for make one more lap here, just looking really consistent out there today, and as he has all season.
Yeah, looks like we've got the battle of the Mustangs at the moment for P3. Brian Zinn being chased down by Derek Tyndall. Meantime, Rob Phelan trying to close in on Kurt Moss as they go through turn 1 at the 90 down the hill. And that is a returning Dylan Foster, I think, to... well, no, that was that Merc or was that... I think that was probably a Mercedes. That might be Chris Diaz, possibly. But... The thing is that we're seeing all these pockets of battles at the moment, but here we are with Morgan Smith in the 285 Aston Martin Vantage, the only Aston on the grid here for this third week out of 12, and you've got Dan Corrido chasing him down in the 320. So at the moment, your top 3 in the respective categories are as follows. In Pro, it's Alessandrini, Lemke, and Zinn. In the mid-pack Larrys, it's Kyle Mavis, Sean Teeter, and Dan Corrido in the numbers 64, 117, and 320. That are your top 3. Jeff Oliveira now gets through on Kelvin Fletcher. Kevin Fletcher, who's now got through into the pit lane. So the number 40 Porsche that started down in 35th position hits pit road. Mike Bond is still there. Spencer Baudouin is still there. Dylan Foster is now circulating, but is about 3 laps down. So it's not going to be an easy run for the 818 BMW M4 GT4. There's Brian Zinn, and look who's coming along for the party. They do say it's 2 to tango, but there's definitely a potential for 3's company in terms of Mustangs, because look at Roman Bykov. He is closing in on the 2 in front, and that is the battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Russell Abraham and current mid-pack Larry's leader, Kyle Mavis, who took the win at Monza just last week, is hunting down the 046 BMW M4 as they head up the hill through the S's one more time as we're on lap 8.
Yeah, Tyndall looking for a spot around Zinn here. He's not able to close up on the back, but he is right there, and Zinn's just got his mirror full of that other Mustang right there behind him. So we'll see if Tyndall can find a way around. I didn't see what happened to Mike Bonder. We talked about him being out of the pits. He had moved up like 15 or 16 spots when he went out of this race. Unfortunate for Mike. Take a look here to battle with McMurray and Krieger. Actually, it's McMurray and Meager. McMurray's going to get around Meager there for that 15th spot.
Yeah, McMurray was a little bit sideways coming through the second half of the inner loop, so managing to keep that Mercedes AMG GT4 controlled with the slide. But look who's right behind them. Kurt Moss is looking for a move behind, and he's diving to the inside. Meager keeps it high and wide, as now this means that Kurt Moss is going to be on the outside for the toe here at the boot, but Moss still throwing the Hail Mary to the outside. Can he get the traction down coming in towards the heel? Not quite, but he gets a good run of traction out of the toe into the heel. He's going to look to the inside here, and that is going to be a change. Good move by Kurt Moss through on Jesse Meager. That is 16th overall, and more importantly, that is 13th in the Pro Division.
Nice mover. Took advantage of a little bit of a bobble there, and able to get to that inside line, take that spot away. And that's what you got to do here at the Glen. If take every advantage you can. It's all about patience, but at the same time, throwing patience out the window when the opportunity is there to get down and take that spot away.
Yeah, Dan Corrido's become the proverbial cork in the bottle, so to speak, here in P9, as Brian Zinn has got Derek Tyndall right on his rear wing as they come out of the S's onto the back stretch, heading towards the inner loop. Can the 042 Mustang make it through on the 82? Well, with the speeds that they'll be hitting, we're seeing drivers hit about close to 160 miles an hour through the top speed trap here at the Glen, as Zinn goes a little bit wide going through into the outer loop, but manages to coax the 82 through onto the apex. different driving style between Zinn and Tyndall. Tyndall looks to be very neat and tidy, very much stick on the racing line, whereas Brian Zinn is just absolutely wrestling that Mustang GT4 by the scruff of the rear wing, bringing it along, kicking and screaming, and still holding on to that third position. So Brian Zinn at the moment doing a stellar job, but Derek Tyndall has really got his crosshairs filled of fellow Ford Mustangers. Oz Escalou makes a move on Rob Phelan. Good move there by the 911 Mercedes. New paint livery for this time. We've normally seen him as the Soul Beam Yellow. That's the Mercedes colour code that Mercedes have on that car, but he's gone with a bit more red on the vehicle just to give it a bit more differentiation from what we see with Kurt Moss, who's gone a bit more fluorescent yellow, I would say.
Yeah, you got to change it up every once in a while, right? You see, in our part of the world, over in NASCAR and dirt racing, you see guys changing liveries on the cars every single week for the special events. So I'm sure it's not a cheap thing to do, especially when you've got a good-looking car like right here with John Cooper with that kind of candy apple red Sky Lounge. That looks another sharp. Oh, look to the inside right here. Cooper down to the inside of James Dean. James Dean gonna, oh, boy, that lot of oversteer right there. Just about pushed it into the tire barrier, but a nice save there from James Dean.
Yeah, James Dean running with that lovely cyan blue Logitech livery on the on the car, the 049. He's made up 4 spots. Had a difficult qualifying, did James. So did, well, John's lost 11 positions. You can see there's some front-end damage to that Porsche 718 Cayman GT4, but Brian Zinn still holding on to P3 as they go through the outer loop once again. The gap between him and Tyndall is less than 0.3 of a second as they go into the chute. And then it's down in towards the toe once again. But you can see that with the driving style, like I was talking about just a few moments ago, Chris, that Brian Zinn, the car seems to be a little bit looser on that 82 Mustang, but Derek Tyndall has got this car really hooked up, but it's just a case of when he finds that opportunity to get through. We're nearly at the halfway point. This is how quick this race has gone, folks. We're 18 and 3/4 minutes through of this 45-minute race with just over 26 plus change to go, and we haven't seen a lot of the drivers come in for their mandated pit stop, but Brian Zinn coming out of the heel and going through into turn 11. The back end stepped out a little bit on him there, Chris.
Yeah, it did just a little bit. We got a 5-car battle forming up here really quickly for this third position. Tyndall, you can see Tyndall close up on the back of Zinn, entering the corners, drives that car just a little bit deeper. Zinn at times able to get a better run from the middle off here, but look at this. Here comes Tyndall. Look to the inside. Not going to make that late lunge. Zinn going to be able to hold him off one more time. And as you can see right there, with Tyndall taking that little bit different line into the corner, that allowed Zinn with about a car length more separation on him.
Yeah, this is going to be very close indeed, because I think if I was Derek Tyndall right now, keep pushing Zinn along, but also from that, what you want to do is make sure that you can cover him off in the pits situation as well. Thomas Lathrop closing in on Zach Rubin, who's got Morgan Smith just in front of him. And look at the overspeed from the Porsche Cayman, diving to the inside here into the inner loop. And, oh, there's nearly contact between the pair. They do rub panels. Morgan Smith gets back through. Zach Rubin nearly off the circuit. And Lathrop in the number 84 Cayman was there waiting in the wings, ready to pick up the pieces. You can tell that Zach Rubin a little bit incensed by that hard-charging, hip-checking style. I mean, if it was ice hockey in the NHL, that'd be called a shoulder check right there.
Yeah, it looks like he's flashing his lights like, okay, I think you need to give me that spot back. But, you know, as they say, 8 wheels turn better than 4. And, you know, Smith and Rubin, a little bit of contact right there. I think, you know, I didn't really see a lot of foul right there. But then again, I'm used to bumping and rubbing on the dirt track. So, but nice move there from Smith and Rubin. But I think you're 100% correct. I don't think Rubin's really happy with that. But Smith able to get away and actually get a little bit of gap. Even with that little bit of damage it looks like he has on the left front fender there.
Yeah, definitely the case. And that just goes to show how quickly things can change over the course of the race, but Brian Zinn still under pressure. The gap now less than 2/10. Derek Tyndall, can he effect a move here as we go across the line? Start lap number 12. They're at full velocity into the 90. A little bit of trail braking, I think, from Brian Zinn and also from Derek Tyndall coming into that downhill right-hander as Lathrop to the outside of Rubin here at the 90. That's a brave opportunistic move by the 84. He runs a little bit wide as he gets the overspeed on Rubin as they're going to go up the hill. Morgan Smith now has entered pit lane, and Lathrop trying to go wheel to wheel, side by side through the top of the hill, up out of the S's. He might get the overspeed. He's gone to the outside of Rubin, nearly a little bit of rubbing between the right front of Lathrop and also the left rear of Rubin. They've got also, just behind them, I think that's... who is that behind them? Well, it's a BMW. Probably maybe Dylan... No, I think that's probably Dylan Foster because Ryan Ryder is in a Mustang. So, yeah, that's going to be very much the case. Kelly Greenhoe is coming to pit lane and gone out after 21.88 seconds on his marks in the pit in the pit box. But Zach Rubin absolutely having to fight tooth and nail. Of course, we saw Zach in the battle at Monza just last time out. He's definitely showcasing that he's not here to make up the numbers, but Watkins, Glen, and then when we go to Mid-Ohio next time, Chris, it's going to be everyone for themselves once again, as here goes Cooper on Sock Rider through into the chute. To the inside goes the number 6, and the Canadian makes the move stick. That's a great job there by the Sky Lounge Motorsports Porsche 718 Cayman.
Yeah, Cooper saw the line, saw the hole open up right there, dove his nose in there, and Sock Rider just didn't fight for it. He knew he didn't have anything to fight with right there. Just kind of stay to the outside. He's going to live to fight another day. But as we look at this, Brian Zinn, Tyndall, Mavis, and Teeter all going to make their pit stops. So our battle for the third through sixth that we had going is going to kind of get separated right now. We're going to see how this comes back out as they cycle through our pit stops.
Yeah, and that's going to promote a whole stack of people as we hit the 21.5-minute mark to go here at Watkins Glen for the Apex this iRacing League for GT4, normally on a Tuesday, but obviously due to technical difficulties earlier on this week, we've had to play it live as you see right now. So a big thank you to everyone watching. Michael Brock, do not try and chant spoilers the next time this happens, my friend. Thank you very much. I just have to give him and Jen a shout out as always, as we always do. Jen's an absolute sweetheart. She's always saying, well, hopefully he doesn't muck up his pit stops, and well, that must have been his lucky charm last time out at Monza. But for Michael, it's not been an easy run. He is currently a lap down, but he is still running. He's 28th at the moment. Car completely now restored to that. Oh, look at that livery on that pony car. That just goes to show who needs Joseph's amazing Technicolor Dream Coat.
Yeah, that reminds, Technicolor Dream Coats. That's a good description for that livery. Somebody spent a lot of time on that. That looks fantastic. That was new from last week, if I remember. So that maybe took a little bit of that winner's money from last week and put it on a new paint job. Maybe,
you never know. But I think the thing is it's going to be interesting. But we've now got Morgan Smith battling away with Thomas Lathrop as they both went in at the same time. And Lathrop got ahead in the pit stop phase. Top four now in, so Alessandrini, Lemke, Bykov and Abram now in pit road. And what you'll see on some of the cars is that the lights will be flashing. That is actually derived from the real world side of things. So the GT4 European Series, you have to have a set of lights on the front and rear headlamps actually flashing. And this is just basically for safety regulations. So all the way down to Rob Phelan have pitted. David Sockrider and Channing McCabe yet to pit. Oh, bit of a wobble coming out of turn number 11 by Morgan Smith in the 285 Aston Martin. I was battling away with Thomas Lathrop, as now we're going to see how the order will change. So Alessandrini rejoins in the race lead, but Derek Tyndall did jump Brian's in pit road by a comfortable margin. It was 18.7 seconds for Tyndall in pit lane. For Brian Zinn, it was 21.6 seconds.
Yeah, 3-second gap right there. Great job from Tyndall getting in and out of pit road. And it's amazing just as close as these guys are running, half a second to a second between them. If you can get an advantage coming in and out of the pits, you might as well take it. Tyndall just showed his skill right there, and that's going to move him up to third. And let's see if he has anything for Lemke. He looked to have a little better pace than Zinn there for a little while. So let's see if he can reel Lemke in. He's got about 2.5 seconds in front of him there.
Oh, now, I've just noticed Kyle Mavis is not leading the mid-pack Larrys anymore. It's Dan Carrido. Pit stop time for this man here was 1 minute on his marks in the pit lane. So that says to me Kyle Mavis might have gotten caught speeding coming into pit lane or crossing the pit lane entry line. And that's a big no-no, because straight away that gives you, I think it's a 40-second penalty. And Kyle Mavis, all the way down in, 21st overall, but that's fourth in the mid-pack Larrys. But meantime, we've got Roman Bykov, who was jumped by Russell Abram in the pit lane. Abram did a 20.5 pit stop, and then it was a 21.6, so 1.1 seconds was the difference. So Roman Bykov in that wonderful Tickford Racing Castrol livery. As we now see, there is Kyle Mavis making his way, he's keeping ahead of John Cooper in the meantime in the number 8 Sky Lounge Motorsports Porsche. Rob Phelan rounding out your top 19 in that de facto Ford Performance livery, it looks like. He's gone with the standard Ford livery. I mean, of course, for people that love their history, well, Ford made history at Le Mans last year because they had the International Mustang Challenge, where Ford CEO Jim Farley even got behind the wheel, and that man loves his racing just like anybody else. He might be the CEO of one of the big 3 car groups in the USA, but he still loves to rip it and grip it and go through the gears in these in the challenge. I think it's the Mustang Dark Horse they use for the Mustang Challenge. There's a bit of a wobble out of the 90 by Kyle Mavis. John Cooper to the inside. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, Mavis with a little mistake got off the track. Cooper got alongside, actually took the spot away for a second, but Mavis able to power past in that big Ford Mustang. So Mavis now still back in that 21st position, trying to make up whatever time he lost in the pits. I'm assuming it had to be a black flag. Don't have that data in front of us, but now Mavis putting a little bit more separation back to Cooper.
It's like we've got him in YouTube chat at the moment. He said that 40-second penalty hurt bad, in his words. But we're also seeing that Sean Teeter doing a really, really good job, but Dan Carrido starting to stride away in the 320 Mustang, just up ahead. So Sean Teeter channeling his inner Cam Waters with the Monster livery. That's the livery that we normally see on Cam Waters' car in the Repco Supercars Championship. And now Joe Mayer closing in on Kurt Moss. And this is going to be an interesting battle. Ford versus Mercedes-Benz. As they're going to make their way through in towards out of turn 12 into turn 13. A little bit more track used by the number 282 of Moss as they come across the line.
Yeah, or a little more rumble strips used by Moss.
Yeah. So, but we've got 15 minutes to go. These laps have gone very, very quickly here at the Glen as Moss gets a little bit of a wobble on the back end coming through out of the 90 and up through the hill they go through the S's one more time. And who's that closing in? That's Jesse Meager. He could make it more than two's company. It'll be three's a crowd in a minute here, Chris.
Yeah, look at Meager going to look to the inside of Moss here, heading down this long straightaway right now. He's going to get the pass done as we head into the inner loop. Nice move there from Meager. From Moss. Look back here at Meager and Moss side by side here one more time.
Yeah, well, Meager trying to go around the outside here at the outer loop. And he's going to get the inside line here for the shoot, but Kurt Moss trying to keep ahead, and I don't think it's going to happen. Miga makes the move completed as they head towards the toe. So good work there by the 172 Porsche 718 Cayman. Meantime, Zach Rubin has got through on Sean Teeter, so has split the two. Oh, no! No! Sean Teeter's hit the barriers!
Oh, and he's
that was coming out of turn 11.
Oh, and he's got to wait for traffic to go by and get back out there, so it loses a few spots right there with that little mistake, but then you see the damage there on the right front fender as well, so Teeter had a really good run going. Is now dropped back to 14th. Unfortunate event there for Teeter. He looked strong here today, but a little mistake's going to cost him about 6 or 7 spots right there.
That is a real shame. Sean Teeter was looking so good at that point, and it just goes to show that these things can happen, and it's nothing. It's nothing that you like to see, really, at all.
No, definitely not. I mean, these guys. I know these guys spend a lot of time practicing for these events, and you know, you run so many laps out here, but it's a little bit different when you get other cars around you like that, and in a heated moment, and just a little bit of a mistake, a little wobble right there is really going to cost you with this group. This Apex, this series, GT4 series that we've been covering here for the last few weeks. This is one of the most competitive series we've seen, and it just doesn't take much to go from about second to about 20th in this field here at times. So, unfortunate there for Teeter. We'll see if he can make up any more spots as he's not trying to reel in Kent Kruger for that 12th spot.
Yeah, back to P3 we go for the battle for the final step on the overall rostrum, and Derek Tyndall is being closed in on by Brian Zinn. The gap between them is about half a second. Meantime, DJ Alessandrini. Remember Road Atlanta, folks, on December 16, 2025? Well, his lead now over Brian Lemke is a whopping 13 seconds as Jesse Miga tries to go to the outside of Joe Mayer in the 000 Mustang, but unable to facilitate the move, and that gives Kurt Moss an opportunity to fire back at the 172 Porsche. So they're going to go through. And this is, again, you see the difference in driving style. Kurt Moss is more of a case of carry the speed through the corners and open, not necessarily open up the steering, but try and give yourself an extra 2 or 3 miles an hour through the corners so you can really get that traction. You can see they're using the rumble strips coming out of 12 and now into 13. So the battle for 14th, 15th and 16th overall, which is effectively 13th in the class, because you've got Corrido from the mid-pack Larry's leading his division in 7th. Ryan Ryder in the 181 Mustang now up to P11 after Sean Teeter's unfortunate spin. Teeter now up into 13th overall, and has got Kent Kruger between himself as Ryan Ryder trying to go towards the outside into the inner loop on Andrew McMurray. That was never going to work on a month of Sundays, considering the fact that, yes, he was getting a little bit of a tow, but the side draft wasn't there for the Stang.
No, trying to get side-by-side in the inner loop is one of the most difficult things you're going to do here in road racing. The Ryder thought he had a little bit of a gap right there, started to take a look, but thought the better of it, backed out, let McMurray go, and to see if he can find some pace here, maybe down through the toe and through the heel at this part of the racetrack. The Ryder with a good up 9 spots, started back in 20th, now up to 11th in that Ford Mustang, looking really strong here. Yeah,
biggest movers here on this particular adventure so far. Kelly Greenhoe up, but you were just about to say something there, Chris.
Yeah,
I'll leave you to.
Yeah, I was just looking here at Sean Teeter. He was actually reeled in by that group of Mayer, Meager, and Moss. Teeter now losing 3 more spots, so maybe that damage is a little bit worse than we thought. He's now falling back even further.
Yeah, it looks like the Monster Energy Cam Waters Tribute Band edition has suffered a little bit of front end damage, so that's going to give him maybe a little bit of chronic understeer on that car, because the front end won't bite down as normal. But more to the point, we are heading into the last 9 minutes plus change, and DJ Alessandrini has now got over a 15-second advantage. heading as we're now on to lap number 19. We're still concentrating on this battle between Maya, Miga, and Moss. It's the Triple M effect here on this battle for position for 13th overall. As Kurt Moss uses the rumble strips coming out of the 90 now into the S's. There's Os Esquilu in the background, but here comes Ryan Ryder with that thundering Mustang, that growl from that fantastic lump underneath the bonnet of that car, and he's right on the back of the Mercedes of Andrew McMurray. John Cooper has got through on Kyle Mavis. They're playing musical chairs at the moment for what is effectively now fourth. Well, it's Kyle Mavis is still effectively is now fifth in the mid-pack Larrys. But more to the point, there is the man of the moment, DJ Alessandrini. Ran the Porsche Cayman at Road Atlanta. He switched to Ford, to Dearborn's finest machinery in the form of the Ford Mustang GT4, and is comfortably leading. He's brought us on to lap number 20 of the motor race with 8 minutes to go. So give or take, we're probably going to have another four to five laps of racing remaining as the man in the 333 makes his way into the S's here on lap 20 here at the Glen.
Yeah, DJ Alessandrini just kind of in another universe, I guess, or right now at this point. He's just driving away from this field. I don't know if they gave him a little extra power in that Ford Mustang, but Lemke not able to really hang on to him as DJ's about 16 seconds out to the good. But it's still Lemke and Tindo. We'll take a look here at Rob Thielen right now, trying to reel in Kelly Greenhoe, as it looks like we might have had another position like Sean Teeter actually losing another spot to Oz Escalou right now. So again, Teeter was still with more trouble. I think that right front damage on that Mustang has got that right front towed out just a little bit, and he's had, like you said earlier, just causing a lot of understeer in that car.
Especially if it's a left-hander. So the right-handers he's fine. In the left-handers, it's kind of like, I might be a little bit screwed here. But meantime, Ryan Ryder again is trying to chance the opportunity. He's going to go to the outside on the back stretch here on Andrew McMurray in the 484 Mercedes AMG into the inner loop, and Ryan Ryder carrying a little bit more speed than the Mercedes in front, but still unable to try and get the pull alongside and past Andrew McMurray. This is the battle for the final position in the top 10. It won't be for class, but Ryan Ryder looking rather strong, and the way things are standing, it could be a top 3 Ford lockout in the mid-pack Larrys, whereas Ford will be split by one BMW as, little bit of a cheeky dive through into the toe of the boot by Ryan Ryder on Andrew McMurray. That got very, very up close and personal.
Yeah, Ryder looking a lot better through turns 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, we see him every time we switch over to this battle. He's getting a much better run down the back straight into the inner loop, just not able to capitalize. But Ryder looking really strong. And it looks like maybe a little frustration sitting in there. He knows he's faster, just can't find a way. But even if he gets around McMurray, it's 8 seconds up the road to Lathrop. So if Ryder can just clear McMurray for that 10th spot, round out the top 10 here, I think that's the best he's going to do. But he is looking strong. He's just got to find an opening here to get around that Mercedes right there in front of him.
Yeah, rather than waiting for it to happen, he's got to make it happen. And in the meantime, DJ Alessandrini on lap 20 went 1.1 seconds quicker than Brian Lemke as these drivers cross the line. So look at this wonderful camera shot just off of the rumble strips as they come through out of the 90. Both drivers using it. So can Ryan Ryder take it a little bit tighter to the wall coming up the hill? He's about a car length and a half behind McMurray, but that overspeed is going to start coming to him, and that gap is coming down. Make that 0.16 of a second, less than a tenth and a half. I think he might get the opportunity this time. He does think about it. He pulls in behind McMurray, and once again his opportunity, he's got to get a bit creative, has Ryan Ryder at this point, because if he can throw it up the inside, throw the Hail Mary to the inside of the toe here on McMurray might have to open up the steering and give him enough racing room, and that's going to be the big point. It's on unstoppable force versus immovable object.
Yeah, a lot of credit to McMurray there too. It's real easy when you know you got somebody lurking behind you like that, as Ryder's doing on him. It's real easy to make a mistake, just kind of miss your turning point, get in the corner a little too deep, and open up that hole in the bottom. of the racetrack for Ryder, but both these guys, just a great battle as they're going to make their way around the lap car. Shannon McCabe right now going to move over and get out of the way. But here comes Ryder one more time. We're going to see if he can get a run. It looks like he's alongside it right here, and see if he can stay there.
Oh, McMurray did go a little bit deep into the corner, and that is coming out of turn number 11. Ryder senses a little bit of Mercedes blood in the water. He's going to dive to the inside here at turn number 12. But we have got 3 minutes and 40 seconds, so it's going to be this lap, and I think probably more than likely one more that we're going to have here at the Glen. As meantime, Michael Brock has got through on James Dean. It's been a difficult race for Michael Brock. Spun out on lap 1, rearranged the front end of the Mustang, went in for a quick repair, and it has been a race for the number 421 to forget. Meantime, Roman Bykov has got, look who's closing in on him. Roman Bykov has lost time to Russell Abram, and now he's got Dan Corrido, the mid-pack Larry's class leader, right on his 6 here as they go through the inner loop, and then it's down the hill through the outer loop. Looks like Corrido's really come alive in this second half of the race after the pit stops.
Yeah, Corrido with a strong run right here. I love that. I love getting in the in-car camera as they go through the inner loop. But here comes Corrido down to the bottom. Bykov has no choice. Is going to have to yield the ground to him. Corrido with a nice move is going to move up into 6th overall. And this Bykov trying to come back at him. It just doesn't have enough. Almost a little contact there. Bykov just about into the back of Corrido. Did a good job of checking up right there. But Corrido on the charge, up 9 spots. Started back in 15th, now up to 6th.
Keep your eyes on the car to his immediate right-hand side. That is Morgan Smith in the Aston Martin. This could be very, very close. Morgan Smith decides in the Mobil 1 Racing liveried Aston Martin. So look at this. You've got Castrol versus Mobil 1. Forget the manufacturers. We've got an oil battle on our hands here, folks, trackside. But we will have... so DJ Alessandrini has started the penultimate lap of this race. So we are going to get... probably, I think it was about 10 seconds ago, as Morgan Smith catches the grass coming through into the exit of turn number 13. But he's right on the rear of Roman Bykov. So can the Aston Martin get the run on the Ford going through the first few corners and up through the S's? Here's DJ Alessandrini, our race leader. He's definitely checked out big time. And look at this. Smith to the inside of the S's. He nearly got the run. He nearly got the run on Roman Bykov there through the second phase of the S's. He was right on the rear bumper of the Mustang. But look at the way that that Mustang uses that low down grunt and torque to pull away from the Aston Martin. And look at that camera shot we've got through the inner loop. That is just that. There's Thomas Lathrop there as well. He wants a piece of this. He definitely wants a piece of this. He's about 9 and a bit tenths of a second. And Morgan Smith diving to the inside, through into the chute. Can he get the move done? Little bit of slippage at the rear end. And that is Morgan Smith through on Roman Bykov. Great persistence by the man in the 285 Aston Martin that makes it through.
Yeah, forced a little bit of forced error there to Bykov. Bykov actually looks like he might have a little bit of damage on the right rear of that car. But nice move there for Smith. Saw the opportunity, and Bykov tried to close the hole, but just could not do it. The car got a little bit loose on him. That allowed Morgan Smith to get past, move up into that 7th spot. Looking really sharp out there right now. So let's see if he can move up anymore. And as we say that, here comes Lathrop. Lathrop down to the bottom of Bykov. So Bykov struggling here late in this race. We only got about 10 seconds left to go. We're on the last lap.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, you were right about that right rear damage for Roman Bykov. That is at the far side of the right rear, infringing the quarter panel and the bumper. But here is our race leader. We have hit 45 minutes, and DJ Alessandrini has put in a masterclass at the Glen. But here comes Dan Corrido to the inside of Russell Abraham, and the mid-pack Larry's leader is now up into 5th. There's nearly a little bit of a hip check between the pair. They go wheel to wheel, side by side. Mustang versus BMW M-Power. Up the hill they go, and Russell Abraham retakes the position round the outside. Meantime, we concentrate on the man that has led every single lap of this race. And for 2 races this season, he has been on pole position. Russell Abraham has got Dan Carrido up his inside. Carrido got through at the inner loop. That was bold, that was brave, that was beautiful by the man in the Mustang, the 320, the mid-pack Larry's leader. But we are coming to the end of this motor race, and it's not that long until we track with DJ Alessandrini. The 333 he won at the season opener back at Road Atlanta, and he's going to do it again. He did not join us at Monza, but it is going to be the fact that we will have the checkered flag wave. It was victory at Road Atlanta, and out of the final corner, the winner here at the Glen, it goes once more to DJ Alessandrini.
Fantastic run from DJ right there. We're going to try to catch up with this battle here with Carrito, Abraham, and Smith still right here, nose to tail. See who can come across here in fight for this 5th position. Lemke right here still hold on to 2nd, but he's 23 seconds back from DJ. Is Lemke now coming off the last corner? We see him taking the checkered flag right here for that 2nd spot. We're going to keep an eye on that battle for 5th. Tyndall going to come across in 3rd. Zen right there in the 4th spot, but the fight is for 5th, 6th, and 7th here with Carrillo, Abraham, and Smith.
Carrito is going to win the mid-pack Larry's division in the Mustang. So Mustang victorious in both categories here at the Glen. Morgan Smith pit Russell Abraham at the line. Oh my goodness, the Aston made it to 6th position at the end. 5th overall, 5th in the pros, but Morgan Smith got the run on Russell Abraham out of turn 13 and picks up 5th place in the class, 6th overall. Ryan Ryder takes P2 down in 11th position for the mid-pack Larrys. And we're waiting. Sean Teeter will round out your top 3. But what a drive by DJ Alessandrini. Brian Lemke will continue to lead the series into a 1/3 of the way through our series here at Apex this iRacing. We've still got a few more drivers. David Stockrider, Michael Brock due to come across the line. He's going to finish in around about 23rd position overall. It's not going to be the run that he would have liked, but that is the case in motor racing. You take the highs, you take the lows, and you dust yourself off, pick yourself back up, and come back kicking and screaming to the next event. Michael Brock takes 23rd position. I think that was Dylan Foster in the 818 coming across the line. But Chris, what a race here at the Glen. This has really got me pumped for Mid-Ohio next time out for week 4.
Oh, another fantastic race. DJ kind of drove off, but from 2nd on back was some great racing the whole entire 45 minutes, as we always see with Apex this. Fantastic drive. Carrito up 10 spots to take home the win here in the mid-pack Larry's, but also 5th overall. So I'm going to bring up the results here for you real quick, as it looks like our race come to an end. Let's see here. It always spins in the middle. There we go, right to the top for you there.
There we go. So DJ Alessandrini, and I can give you updated championship scores as well with the respective divisions. DJ Alessandrini now moves up to 3rd in the standings with a total of 42 points. Brian Lemke, one of 3 drivers in that top 4, because Lemke, Tyndall, and Zinn all got additional points for clean race. So that is a pretty good thing for those 3 drivers. So Brian Lemke, Derek Tyndall, and Brian Zinn all getting an additional 4 bonus points for their clean races. Dan Carrito takes P5, and with it moves his way up the order to 5th in the mid-pack Larry's division on 34 points, rounding out your top 5. Morgan Smith, Russell Abraham, Thomas Lathrop on debut. Great showing by the 84 Porsche. Started 14th, finished in 8th. Roman Bykov and Andrew McMurray round out your top 10. Ryan Ryder, that was a great run by the 181 in the Ford Mustang. He moves himself. That's his best result, I think, of the series so far. So, no, actually, that's another 2nd place for him, 2 for 2 so far, and that now puts him P3 in the standings in the mid-pack Larrys. Kent Kruger, Jesse Meager, Joseph Mayer, Kurt Moz, Oz Escalou, and Sean Teeter round out your top three in the mid-pack Larry. Sean Teeter now closes the gap to Carl Mavis to 12 points heading into mid-Ohio. And then we look at the rest of the finishing order. John Cooper ends up 20th ahead of Rob Phelan. David Stockrider making up 12 places on his debut in the series, I believe. 22nd, finishing ahead of Michael Brock, who at this moment in time, when it comes to the pro side of things, unfortunately, Michael, it's been a couple of, first round at Road Atlanta, 6 points. Round 3, 2 points. So he's got to come back kicking and screaming at Mid-Ohio next time out. And then we've got James Dean and Jeff Oliveira. You also have their fair share of dramas. Oliveira up 12 spots to finish 25th. Harrison Mealy, Matthew Brent being on 27th, Channing McCabe and Dylan Foster being the last of the drivers that crossed the line. Retirements as follows: Chris Diaz, Zach Rubin, John Monsal, Kevin Fletcher, Mike Bond, Spencer Baudouin, Tony Phillips and Uwe Hale, Thomas Fisher, Anthony Carbone Jr. and Sam Swan, unfortunately not taking to the start. Chris, what a way that this is now the end of the first quarter of our 12-week series here for Apex, this iRacing League. We've got a quick turnaround because we've got Mid-Ohio on January 6th, haven't we, buddy?
Yeah, we come back next Tuesday on the 6th at Mid-Ohio. That's a track I haven't been to yet, so I'm really excited to go there. But, another fantastic race. I love our Tuesday nights here with Apex this Friday morning at this point. But these guys just always put on such a great show. Unfortunate for a few drivers, had some problems here today. Didn't finish nearly the way they wanted. But another great run from DJ Alessandrini. Brian Lemke, just Mr. Consistent right there, coming home in second one more time. And just another fantastic day here at the Glen.
So, folks, thank you so much for joining us on this rescheduled live broadcast here on the Racer Nexus Network. Big thank you to the people that have been in the chat tonight. Of course, we will see you next Tuesday on January 6th, where we go from the Glen, we go to Mid-Ohio for week 4 out of 12. And it's Messrs. Lemke and Mavis that lead the Pro and the Mid-Pack Larry divisions, respectively. You've been in the company of Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy. Big thank you also has to go to trackcams22.com, who provide our track cams for every single broadcast. We also have to say a big thank you to our friends at Apex Sim Racing Shop. Don't forget, if you want a cheeky 5% discount off of all purchases, use the referral link in the description down below and use the coupon code Racer Nexus for a nice little 5% discount off of all your purchases. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on the Racer Nexus Network. There is so much coming up. We cover plenty of series, and if you want to join what is a stacked grid, head to the channel Discord, sign up. If you love your GT4s with fixed setups, arrive and drive, car choice, plentiful, great circuits to race at. We're going to Spa, we're going to Sebring, Long Beach, Mosport, VIR, Laguna Seca, Mount Panorama, and Road America. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us. And until then, keep it pinned. We'll see you next time. Good night.